Hi guys, this is George Dale, and I was asked to do a video of my shop. So here's where we start, is outside. It's a 900 square foot shop, separated from my house. Like the rest of you, I hope I don't make you dizzy. This is a bunch of cedar that I just picked up, cedar slabs, that I'll be doing some flat work with. As you walk into my shop, here's the door. Of course, all my chalk skis. And we walk in. So I'm going to take a left here. And this, of course, is my table saw. And I've tried to set up the shop because it's small so that my projects roll in either from the table saw or at this other side of the shop where the chop saw is, and then onto my outfeed table, which I'll show you some things about that outfeed table here in a bit. So the other side of my shop, this is really my project planning bench, a few tools, some drawing stuff, of course a new package that I have not unveiled yet. My computer, plenty of storage down here, and this is my drill press, which sits on my bench. And then as you move across this shop, I have all of my power tool storage here, and next to that is all of my finishes, glues, and whatnot. I am going to back up a little bit here, because in a small shop you have to utilize just about every piece of space. So when you start looking up into my ceiling, I have all my clamps, my large clamps up above, my small clamps hanging on a chain. I do have a runner here where I hang stuff to finish or let dry. The back of the shop goes into all of my rounds that are being stored and or dried, more clamps, and more clamps up here. And then this shelf has my tapes, all of my battery charging station, nuts and bolt storage. Everybody has to have that. A small belt sander, and then my drum sander. Now I made all of this equipment on this back wall roll around. My big sander here, my surfacing sander, which I use a lot. It's all roll around, so I can roll it out into the shop. My router table, which I roll around also. Again, my planer, or actually my edging planer, and then this is my surfacing planer for other stuff, and my air compressors. And then up here is more clamp storage, and this holds my pans, my roller paper. Again, I use the ceiling for a lot of storage. And as we move our way around the shop, this is my bandsaw. And up here is a Mr. Cool heater and air conditioner. This thing really keeps the shop in a good temperature year-round. Just next to that is my laser printer, and below that are some more laser printers and 3D printers. As we move around the shop, and I'm just going around the outer edges right now, I have wood storage up above here, my chop saw. As you can see, there's dust collection. There's dust collection on the bandsaw also. My dust collection system runs all along this wall and down toward the end of the shop, and I'll show you that in a sec. So it's my chop saw. As we move down the shop, you can see my grinder, And my tool sharpening station is right next to my lathe. Most all of my storage and lathe tools that are not a cutting purpose tool are in these boxes or in the shelves or down in the toolbox. This box here holds all of my sanding stuff and towels, paintbrushes, so on and so forth. There's my Powermatic PM2020. There's also a dust collection system that goes there. And then my jet, which I got from Guy, which, you know, I've kind of set up kind of nicely so that I have good light, so on and so forth, and tool storage in the front of it. As we move over toward the lathe, you know, I just have about every tool that you could possibly use while doing lathe work. My chucks, my sanding wheels, again my PM2020, the thing that's hanging here, turns on my exhaust system remotely. This is an extra vacuum if I need it. My duct system on my PM2020, I took where it hooked the cage in and made a rod, and of course I saved the rod with a old cue ball so I don't poke myself. But my dust collection system slides the full length, so no matter where I'm working or what I'm working on, my dust collection system works. One of the things that I'm pretty proud of and happy with is my lathe tool storage area. And again, this is roll around, and I can roll it to this lathe or over to the mini lathe, and on the back of that holds my brooms, my face shields, more dust masks, so on and so forth. And this is again the jet area that I have with small project storage, a light up above here. So as we move around, here is some more project storage and the table saw. And now I'm going to move around the inside and I'll show you that table on my feed out table and some of the things about that. This is all of my resin storage area. So I have my resins here, I have mixing cups, of course, scales. Down here I have some molds. Over here in this thing is my pressure pot. This is just an old kitchen cabinet that I picked up and kind of revised to do what I needed it to do for my resins. Of course, my scroll saw. My scroll saw is set up with all of my bits marked and files next to it. As I walk around, this is a bearing press, but what I use this bearing press for is if I have skateboard glue ups or those kind of things, I can really glue and put some pressure down on that thing. One of the other things that I did was, you know, I got tired of changing stuff around on my Beal buffing wheels on my lathe. So what I did was purchase this motor with some long shafts, and all of my Beal buffing equipment is right here. So I don't have to use up the space on my lathe. Right behind me, of course, are burls that I've picked up, and the big one I'm still waiting to dry. You can see there's still green moss on it. That's going to be quite a while. So this bench, what I want to show you about this bench is I built this bench several years ago, and what happens with this bench is, of course, everybody knows I did flat work in my past, and you see these blue sections. Well, they actually come out, and I have a full length pipes, and they go all the way down to this end, and they're clamps, and so I can clamp up basically almost an 8-foot door if I needed to glue it up and clamp it or work on it in that fashion. The whole thing is made out of poplar and Purple Heart, and that's really my feed table and my clamp up table. So I'm pretty happy with this shop, and I've done pretty well with 900 square feet of what I have to work with. So I'll just kind of go around. Of course, I have to have a refrigerator full of refreshments and stuff for when people come over. These are my tripods, so on and so forth as we go out the door. The back of my door holds all of my smocks and vests. And again, 900 square feet of very functional shop. And I hope that there's more storage underneath the table saw, more wood that needs to be turned. This is my dust collection system, and what it does is, of course everybody knows it's 2-stage, but I hooked up a dryer vent so that the exhaust actually vents outside of the shop into a dryer type flapper so that no bugs or anything else gets in. So that's my shop, guys. I hope you enjoy the tour, and gosh, hopefully we'll get to a meeting sooner or later here. So have a great day.